Hello, welcome to the 24th session. In the previous session, we have created the GraphQL type. In this session, we will create the schema as well as the first query. I'm going to create a query using which client can obtain a list of order which has created a value in the order status. For this, open the order details service, create a new method, public async task of I enumerable of order details, get all new orders async, import all missing namespaces, and return the order details that have the order status equals to created as a list, and add this method into the interface. Here our service has been updated. Now we need to create a query that will use this service to obtain the data. Create a new folder, name queries. Within that, create a new class, pizza order query, make it public, inherit it from the object graph type, create a constructor, and inject the I order details service. First of all, set the name for this type. To add a field in a query, we need to use the either field or a field async method as per our requirement. In the service, we have created a synchronous method, so we need to use the field async. It will return the list of order details type. So we need to use the list graph type of order details type. Using the name parameter, we can specify the name for our query. I'm going to use the new orders. You can use the any other name too. In the resolve parameter, specify the resolving function. It will be async and get the context. Using the order detail service, call the get all new orders async method. Here our query has been created. Now we need to create a schema and inform it about our queries. For this, create a new folder named schema. Within that, create a new file named pizza order schema. Make it public. Inherit it from the graphql.types.schema. Create a constructor. Within that, inject the I service provider and pass this to the base class. Also, we need to set this to the service property so it can be used by the internal functionality of the library. In the queries property, obtain the service of a type pizza order query. Our schema has been created. Now we need to add its dependency. Open the configure service extension file. In the custom GraphQL type, add a singleton dependency for the pizza order queries and a pizza order schema. Along with these, in a custom GraphQL services, we need to call the add GraphQL type and specify the schema. In the startup file, specify the schema type for the use GraphQL, as well as in the use GraphQL WebSocket. Save all the files, run the project. Here you can see that now we are not getting the any server error. Click on the schema. Here it shows the all of the type that are supported by the GraphQL schema. It includes the queries, type, mutation, subscription, as well as the scalar types too. Click on docs. It's like the GraphQL, but I like the GraphQL playground more because it allows us to download the schema as well as the some setting for the client side, such as the theming, font size, font family, tab settings, etc. And also have the multiple tabs. Let's open the editor. Within that, open the curly braces. Here it gives the suggestion. Use the new orders. Within that, we are interested to just obtain the only ID, address line 1, amount, and a mobile number. Click on execute. Here we got the result as per the our data. Those data I have already seeded by default. We can also change those fields as per the our requirement. For example, instead of using the address, you want to obtain the date. Execute date. Here we got the updated field. We does not need to do any kind of changes in the our code. Let's see what we have learned in this session. Here we have created a class that represents the query. It inherited from the object graph type. Using the field async, we have specified the return type in a generic type parameter and the query name and resolve function in its parameter. After this, we have created a schema. It will be inherited from the GraphQL type schema, injected the service provider and pass it to the base class. After this, obtain the pizza order query and set it into the query property. We have specified the dependencies for both classes. Then specify the schema type using the add GraphQL type method. Along with this, we have configured the schema with the use GraphQL and use GraphQL WebSocket. Stay tuned for the next session.